Thank you, Lord. They looked at Jesus like he was nutty. Andrew, I believe it was. Yeah, Andrew. Simon Peter. What? I could see him probably off in the corner like, Jesus thinks he's going to feed all these people. How do you know when it's God? When you receive a blessing in your life and his name is what? Glorified. Because guess what? After they saw what Jesus did, what were they saying? He is who he said he was. Church, are we representing him in our giving? So that when we give of ourselves or time, money, resource, whatever, that the world is saying, you know what? The church is for real. Jesus is for real. Is his name being glorified in your life?
All right. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Tony, and a little over 2 years ago, the devil took away my family and basically everything I ever had. And I pretty much thought I had all the answers, that I was going to do it all on my own. And I fought. I fought against everything, and I tried to do everything myself. I was in the bars probably 6 times out of the week. I was on the ball field 6 times out of the week. I figured if I do that, everything would be okay with me. But I was wrong. Because back in January, I know people always say that God speaks to them and stuff like that. Well, back in January, I had a dream. And that dream was the scariest dream I ever had. It was about 2 arms came through the window of my house and grabbed me and squeezed me so hard where I was screaming from the top of my lungs, but not a word was coming out. And this was my dream, and it seemed so real. All of a sudden, I wake up in the middle of the morning, screaming from the top of my lungs for help. My father that lives downstairs heard me. It's 4 o'clock in the morning, and here I wake up screaming. So then I try to go back to bed, and when I'm trying to go to sleep, all I could hear was a ticking sound. So I get up and I walk to my kitchen thinking maybe some water is dripping. There's no water dripping. I walk to my bathroom, nothing. I go back to bed. Same thing. It was the ticking sound over and over. So I just got up, I turned the light on, and I looked, and a few years back, my daughter had bought me a clock. And the clock was the Last Supper clock. It was on my wall. The clock actually stopped working, but it was still ticking. And it just scared me. I ran to that clock, and I took the battery out, and I threw it in the garbage. And it took me a long time before I could put another battery in that clock. Well, then the very next day, I decided I was going to go to a Redbox. This was the first time I ever went to a Redbox to get a movie. So here I'm thinking I'm going to go get an action movie, watch an action movie. Well, I picked this movie out, I get home, I put it in. It's about 4 police officers. I watched this movie, and all of a sudden I get smacked in the face because the movie is about 4 guys that gave their life over to Christ. You know, and it was almost as if I was living that same movie. Because I had kids that I pretty much were neglecting too at the time. You know, and then I was like, wow. I said, now my niece was going to baptize her kid on Sunday. So I went to church. I went to St. Richard's Church with my niece to baptize her daughter. While I was there, I was just thinking in my head, I said, I need to start coming to church. So I asked my daughter, you want to come to church? And I asked my mom, you want to come to church next week? And they were like, yeah, let's go. We'll go back in. So we went. While I was there, I didn't feel anything. It just wasn't right. So I told my daughter, I said, you know what? I remember this church I used to go to 12 years ago. It's called the Gospel Lighthouse over on 6th Street. You want to come with me? Because I know there they had things for kids. So she was like, yeah, we'll go. So then the following week, we came. We walked through this door. When I walked in this door, Pastor Ray Sr. was sitting down at the table. As soon as I walked in, he got up off his seat, walked right up to me, smiled at me, put his hand out, and said, you're back. I haven't been in this church for 12 years. And he remembered me. And that just like lifted something off of me. You know, and then I just knew, I had to be here. It was just something telling me I had to be here. So then all of a sudden I found out Darrell came here. I mean, I've known Darrell for 15 years. Me and this man never really talked, as long as we worked together. But now that we found Christ together, he's like my best friend. You know? And then Reuben, I played ball with Reuben. I actually drank beer on the ball fields with Reuben. You know? And for the longest time, I never knew Reuben was in church. Until one day he hit me on Facebook. You know, and it's like all these things start falling in place. It's like, you know what? I can't deny Christ no more. You know, so I decided, you know what? I'm going to give my whole life over to Christ now. And all the things that I was doing, I stopped flat out. I stopped it. I had a lot of people not like me because I stopped it. I had somebody tell me they don't even like the new me. They like the old me. You know, but that's okay, because I'm not going to turn back. And since I didn't turn back, I mean, just a few weeks ago, I was ready to finally end the chapter with me and my wife. I texted her and told her we need to talk because I need to get the divorce. That's what I told her. She told me I'm not signing the papers. I said, what do you mean you're not signing the papers? It's been over 2 years. And then we started talking. And next, you know, my whole heart changed. That steel heart I had was softened. And I came to the group that Thursday and I told the guys, man, I got something to say, man. I got something that's convicting me. It's like God's telling me to go back to my wife. I don't know how I'm going to do it. So I came to church and I prayed. And I told God, if this is what you want from me, then I accept it. Because if that's what you want us to be together, then we'll be together. And I talked to her and we talked. And I told her, if you can accept me as a godly man now, then I don't have a problem taking you back. Because you are my wife. And in the Bible states he hates divorce. You know, and a lot of people misinterpret it because they think about what he gave to Moses about granting them divorces. He gave them the opportunity to grant a divorce, but he doesn't want you to get a divorce. He wants you to find forgiveness in your heart and learn to forgive. So there is no more divorces. You know, and the whole time that I kept saying that I forgave her, I meant it. I forgave everything. But the only thing is, I was still a little selfish because I never asked her, did she forgive me? Because I turned my back on my wife and my kids too. And she told me the day that I accepted to take her back is the day she forgave me. You know, so I just want to tell you that God is real. And God works wonders. We just have to have faith and stay strong. Amen. Because it's so easy to give up. Because the devil wants you to give up. But I'm not going to let the devil make me give up. I have that armor upon me now, and I'm going to keep that armor upon me. Amen. You know, and I just want to say to everybody here that next month, November 24th at 1 o'clock, we're going to renew our vows here in this church. I want everybody here, you're welcome to come, because I would love for all you guys, because you guys are my family. You know, the church is my family now. You know, and today was just a blessing to see my daughter up here singing. You know, and to see my mom here. Yeah. It's a blessing. Amen. You know, and I can't deny it. Yeah, and also my son Samuel, it's his 17th birthday today.
You could have probably just got up here and preached today, because that's essentially what you just said.
You know how hard it was for me to finally get up here. I've been trying to, I wrote this stuff down. And I was practicing all week on how I was going to do this. And I was like,
You didn't even need to.
no,
Yeah.
And when you started preaching with the preach today, it's like, I need to say this testimony because it goes with everything you kind of talk about.
Amen. That's what I love, man. It's God. He'll even restore what the locust has eaten. When you were out playing around and doing your thing, believer, talking to you, and living your life, your way, maybe got some trouble, maybe lost all your finances so you couldn't give, you know, partying, whatever. But then when you surrendered your will, you didn't have to try. You just surrender your will. You don't have to try hard enough or give enough or this enough. You surrender and say, Lord God, I'm seeking